Making $128 trading AMD today. What's going on, guys? Welcome on in for another trade recap. We're back in better than ever, honestly. Today, just feeling amazing. I don't know what else to say. AMD, we made 128. This is an interesting trade because the move was big. We were very close, like 10, 15 cents away from stopping out break even, but it ended up working out. So I'm going to recap it. And let's start. First things first, let's track everything here in TradeZella. I will leave them linked below, like always. And let's get into it. So making 128, this is on a $10,000 account. I'm happy with that number. It's kind of what you normally see my winners looking like, because I generally lose under $100 per trade on losers on this account, and I make over 100 and whatever per trade on this account. So it's kind of like where I've been standard-wise sizing. So nothing crazy going on there. AMD, big picture, let's start things off. I liked it because big picture, we are breaking down potentially below this level from a couple weeks back, and also below a little bit of a consolidation, little bounce zone right here. And on the volume profile, give it a second to load, we were coming down into areas that we saw, lower, a little more gaps in volume. So I thought this was an interesting spot on AMD to be pushing to the downside and looking for a trade. So it's okay. Great. Higher time frame aligns with going short here. Can we get a shorter time frame, a 5-minute time frame to give me a setup? And we had to wait a little bit, but we got one. It wasn't like a perfect, beautiful setup initially, but it ended up panning out nicely. So choppy at the open, and then we came down here, bounced up, and this blue line was that breakdown point on the daily chart that I had drawn in. So I was like, just kind of marking that up just to make sure, we had that in the back of our head. And we pretty much came down, broke it, bounced back just north of it, but like give or take within, a standard deviation to some degree. I don't know if you want to use that term, but I don't even know I should know what that really means. I do know what it means, but I also sometimes just say shit just to make it sound like I'm cooler or that I know what I'm talking about sometimes, but I really don't. But it came up a little bit above, no big deal, right? It's within reason. And then came back down and then just gave a consolidation here for a couple of candles. And then eventually broke down. Once we broke that level, I got in. We had this upper wick that I was like, I don't like that. But then I was like, well, it's okay. As long as it rejects here off this general blue line, like we're okay. If it breaks that blue line and it breaks this double top high here, then definitely don't want to be in, because that would be invalidation. I would have lost like $79 or whatever I was risking on the trade, something like that. And it rejects, comes down, gets a nice push. At this point in time, we got pretty close to our take profit. We were like 20, 30 cents away from our take profit. So I was like, okay, let's move our stop loss to break even. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, this one, I didn't sweat it out, but you could have sweat it out because it got very close. So my break even was 149.69. I can guarantee that because of the execution here. 149.69 was where I got in, okay? This upper wick came up to about 149.61. So 8 cents away from hitting my break-even stop, and then beautifully, bear flagging or wedging, whatever you want to call it, to the downside. I then drew this line in and said, hey, if we break this line, this looks really good, and then boom, we got it. Simple as that. Simple as that. Now, had I known that the market was going to go down a lot more today, well, I may be able to stay a little bit longer because we got a lot more of a move, right? I was targeting 148. We then, on that push, got down to 147 just some moments after I got out. And then, there's more money on the table there. But either way, I'm happy with the trade. I don't really care what happens after that, because I know that the reality is that most of the time, most days are not going to do this. Today was an outlier day. Most days I'm not going to do that. If I can capitalize and make this happen nicely on these days and make it happen on some days where we get more choppiness and it's going to lose a lot of other times too, I'll be able to make money. So I don't really care. But that's the plan, or that's the trade recap on AMD. Pretty straightforward. And as I speak, it's Wednesday. We got about a week left. So Thursday, Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then July is over. We are currently up 955, and I have open P&L. I have open profits right now on Bitcoin. We'll see if it stops me out break even. I haven't recapped those trades, so stay tuned. There's a couple $100 missing in terms of this number versus my trade recaps. If you were to track my trade recaps, you'd be like, oh, he's actually down, or he's not up as much on the month. But there's a couple $100 missing there. So I will recap them once I close out fully. but I have yet to close out fully, so I'm not recapping them just yet. But everything here is tracked, journaled, and logged with TradeZilla, so I can't complain when you see a nice curve up and to the right. Now, it's not going to be perfect. Every day is not up. You have some choppiness in there, but we are sloping up and to the right, and I'm happy to see that in the grand scheme with a 44% win rate, by the way. Nothing amazing. Nothing amazing. I'll leave them linked up below where you can track everything, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.